Just to get things going, welcome to Networking and Business Development. If you are here for negotiation, you're in the wrong panel. My name is Kate Conroy. I'm with Hospitality Minnesota, which seems a little odd to some of you probably, but I'll explain that in a minute. I'm really excited to have the privilege of kicking off this panel and being with this just amazing group of women. You're going to be so happy at the end, I think. Before we get started, just one housekeeping item. Complete bios for panelists can be found on the event webpage, which you can find using the QR code on any of the signage you see here. And now we're going to introduce these fantastic women. As I call your names, please take about 30 seconds and introduce yourselves. Bridia Chambers, Epic Transformation, and licensed realtor for XP Realty. My God. Off to a great start.
Thank you. I'm glad to be... First, I have to turn the mic on. Can everyone hear me? Okay, so I'm glad to be here today. So Epic Transformation is a social media agency designed to help businesses grow their presence and transform their business using social media. And the other piece of what I do in terms of eXp Realty is to help investors find commercial real estate properties licensed throughout New Jersey.
Thank you so much. Rosanne DeTorres and DeGeorge Family Law, which, before you do this, today is my divorce anniversary, and Rosanne had a lot to do with that, and I just want to do a quick little shout out to her. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was my absolute pleasure. I like to say I'm in the weight loss business. I'll let you lose. I'll help you, lose about 180 pounds typically. So, no.
He was more.
Yeah, it was more. Family law is a tough gig, but I love it because I get to interact with the most lovely people each and every day. I like to say we're good at conflict resolution because I have an iron fist in my velvet glove, and I'd much rather use my velvet glove to help you get to the next point in your life. But if I got to take out my iron fist, I'm not afraid to do that either. And I'm very, very happy to be here and to see Kate again. And just so you know, in case you came to this room for a reason, I just gave you my 30-second elevator pitch.
There you go. Very nicely done. Jessica Viotto, PNC Financial Services Group.
Hi, everybody. I work for PNC Bank. I'm a commercial treasury management officer, which means that I spend my time with corporations and their treasury or finance teams, educating them and enabling them to use the most advanced technology that they'll be able to accept to do their day-to-day banking and cash forecasting. So kind of an elevator pitch, not as good as Rosanne's, but I'm a technology salesperson for the bank.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, Larisa Perlovsky with Optimum Business.
I don't know if I turned this on.
I think you did.
All right. First of all, I like that. Now I know I need to network with you because I also do technology, but not in that way. So being with Optimum Business, we do phone, internet, TV. You probably heard of us, right? So we're pretty much throughout the tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. And what I specifically do is I run a team of 10 sales reps, and they go commercial door to door, talk to commercial accounts, and help them set up with their business services. In other words, call them modern day peddlers.
That's not an easy job.
It's not an easy job. That's probably why I'm at this panel, right? To talk about what we do.
Exactly.
But it's fun.
Thank you. And I am Kate Conroy with Hospitality Minnesota. I help members figure out how to spend their marketing dollars when they're ready to start getting additional visibility, whether it's through a speaking opportunity or a banner ad or a sponsorship. And I help non-members figure out if membership makes sense. And for those of you who are like, what is Hospitality Minnesota? It's the Restaurant and Lodging Association for the state of Minnesota. And before I was there, I was here. I was with NJBIA for 8 years, and I'm so happy to be back. Okay.
That's awesome. And cold over there.
It is very cold. No joke.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we had our prep call, we decided that networking and business development could really be broken into 3 different buckets: networking, business development, and then the sales part. So we're going to get started with networking. And the first question is, there can be a certain amount of discomfort associated with networking, either because of social anxiety or because you're new to the topic or the organization or the area. What are some strategies, or how does strategy work and fit into combating that discomfort? And I'm going to go ahead and choose Berdia first.
So when it comes to strategic networking, one thing I would recommend is being intentional. You have to be intentional and have a purpose for networking. Who is it that you want to network with? Is it someone in your industry? Is it someone in a different industry? Maybe you're trying to transition to a different industry. I also recommend finding mutual ground. What is it that you may have in common with that person? You know, now, of course, the social media side of me, right, says you have a wealth of information at your fingertips. You can take a look at someone's LinkedIn profile. You know, there's a lot of information, a lot of people here. You see the speakers list. Is there someone that you want to connect with? You can take a look at them online, and then when you meet them in person, that's a conversation starter. Mm-hmm. It establishes common ground. It establishes the warmth. And it's not stalking, you know, because the information is at your fingertips, right? So it's you strike the conversation based off something that is a common topic that you can kind of relate to, I would say, that both people can relate to. That's one tip that I would say in terms of being strategic and intentional.
Thank you, Rosanne. You were nodding along quite a lot. Why don't you jump in?
I thought that was amazing what Berdia said, because I never even thought about that for so long. When I first started networking, I was doing everything and anything to get in a room and didn't have any intention about it. And it's exhausting to work like that. But at its most basic, I think from sort of the other end of the spectrum, if you're just starting out, I did little things like I would go right to the food and talk to the people at the food. I mean, I don't know how this happened, but I am really at heart an introvert. I'm in a business where I need to be very extroverted. I love people. I like talking to people. But after that, my social battery goes to E. So I like to start the conversation around the food. I'll go right to the food. I'll find out why that person might have come, who invited them, what is their relationship to the organization that's putting the event on. As far as getting over your anxiety about being in the room, if you want to be an entrepreneur, and even gals that work for other companies, you're an entrepreneur within your business, an intrapreneur. You want to build a book of business, you have to overcome that fear somehow, some way. And I think I just faked it. I acted like I was confident, even when I wasn't.
And I know even when I first came to PNC was really when I started networking, because I was tasked with business development. And I started small, you know, little chamber events, always joined the Women in Business Council on whatever, because I knew I had common ground there. So it would put me in a place that I like to be in. And I picked events that I thought were interesting or had an interesting speaker, something that I could dig my teeth into, or a charity event that I was passionate about. So there was always something I would look forward to going instead of dreading it. And I started small, you know, little things that in Hunterdon County where I live that I knew I could, you know, I knew people, I wouldn't be alone. And then now today, I didn't know anyone when I walked in. I was waiting to look for Kate, but I just sat myself at a table that I didn't know anyone at for the very purposeful reason that I wanted to meet new people. And I looked at an empty seat and I said, is anyone sitting here? And sat down, started a conversation, got some business cards, and, you know, the day started. But I started small, and I started in an area of comfort.
Excellent. Larisa, you look like you're ready to jump in.
You know, when you're in sales, it's very difficult to sometimes not talk, right? But in any case, I would like to add to that because, yeah, to start small and to handle the anxiety issue, right? I have anxiety. It happens. I have anxiety now. Breathing techniques, right? That helps. You know, I do workouts a lot. I'm into Pilates a lot. I also take some medication, just saying, for anybody that does that. You get it, absolutely. You know, you do what you can. I also have 3 screaming children at home. So, you know, when they're running around and I'm dealing with things, you know, it's almost like a training room for me to block out the noise and just focus on what I need to focus on. And to whoever mentioned before about faking things, yeah, fake it till you make it. It kind of gives you that confidence, right? And in being in sales, being in talking to others, you're putting on a performance. Whether you like it or not, you're putting on a performance and what people see of you, right? I have a lot of reps that struggle with this when it comes to networking and stretching themselves a little bit. I might be jumping ahead, but they stretch themselves and they think, oh my goodness, I don't know how to talk to people. How am I going to go to this event and that event and this event and that event? Do the small stuff. Do something local. Do something like, something silly. I'm part of a neighborhood watch, and I'm not stalkery with that people there, but I do. I notice people, and then I'll say things and whatever. But the point is, do something that's small. Do a subcommittee. I'm also part of my township's economic and development committee, which is a subcommittee of a larger committee. So you get comfort, right? Talking with the same people. Back to networking events and so on and so forth. When you are going to such and such events, keep track of the people who you speak with, because God knows how many times I forget people's names. Thank God we have name tag. Oh, I'm not even wearing my name tag, but thank God we have name tags, right? But you'll recognize the faces of people, and they'll say, oh, I remember you. You were in such and such event. This actually just happened to me a few days ago. I was in Middlesex County for Middlesex Chamber Regional Network Fest. And people were recognizing me from past experiences. I'm like, I don't know who you are, where I remember you from, but thank you for remembering me. That's cool. And usually it revolves around food because I'm a big foodie. Let me tell you, all networking places, they have good food. That's a conversation starter, and drinks.
That's a really good point. I was actually just thinking when I was faking it, I found the calendar and the food was always a really good place to start. So everybody knows how to talk about food, right? But there's always something on the calendar that either just happened or is coming up to small talk about. Right. And really, you want to small talk as long as possible because small talk leads to big talk. Yes. So for example, right now, it's the end of September, so the kids just went back to school. How did that go? Did everybody freak out? Halloween is coming up. Thanksgiving is coming up. There's always something on the calendar that you can cling to if you have anxiety about what you're going to talk about.
And everyone's favorite subject is themselves.
Yes.
So if you're parents, you're good at asking questions because you have kids, right? So you're good at interrogating. I'm a lawyer. I like to ask questions, get people talking about themselves. That's a great way to network, asking questions. And about the calendar, where are you going? You got any good plans? Where'd you go last summer? Go anyplace great?
Yeah, you want to find as much in common with that person as possible and work it. And networking with a buddy is something that I didn't discover until later in life, and I wish that I had discovered it sooner, because working a room alone, that is terrifying if you're young and you don't know what you're doing. But working a room together, as long as you keep working it, it's fine. It's totally legit.
I do a lot of networking with other bankers, and there were times that along the way where people were saying, "Aren't you worried they're your competition?"
Yes.
And I always say, "There's enough fish in the sea. Look at how many people are in this room. There could be 4 bankers in this room, and it wouldn't matter, because the networking piece is the connection." So we could all be bankers on this stage, all doing the same thing, but you might connect with Rosanne, you might not connect with me, you could connect with Kate. So it really is that personality, where you find your comfort zone, your voice. And also, if you have someone with you. I mean, they don't even have to be in the same industry either. Kate and I have done a million events together.
100%.
We only circle because of NJBIA, but we've been in the same room and networked together a bunch of times, and neither one of us are pitching, talking about the same thing, but we always come back together, have a good, sip of something, and then we talk about something else. So there's all ways to do it.
Any last thoughts on this networking piece, Berdia?
The only other thing that I want to add is you never know what that commonality may be. So even if you are networking with someone and, I'm in the marketing industry, or I'm in the real estate industry. Let's talk about real estate, right? A lot of real estate, realtors from the residential side to the commercial side. Everyone has their own individual focus. Everyone has their own individual brand. So even if you are in the same industry, don't look at it as competition because it could be a referral opportunity. No two people do exactly the same thing.
Excellent point. Larisa, any last thoughts?
Yeah, it's almost like you are the owner. Most of you, I'm sure, maybe are, but you're the owner of your own career, right? So you're the owner of your own business, which means you have to have your own book of business that you can then use to go and refer others. Because the networking, it works when you're giving. When you give, then you start receiving. So that's just something to keep in mind.
100% agree with that. Roseanne, you were going to jump in.
You have to eat too. So I spent the good part of the first 2 years that I really started focusing heavily on my business of never eating a meal alone. And I one-to-one to death, essentially. My brand, obviously, my line of work is very high trust factor goes into. People aren't, knocking down my door. It's not like drive-through, fast food. People have to really make a big decision to want to buy something from me. So they really need to get to know me. It's always based on that relationship. I think people assume that I know what I'm doing. I do, but I'm just saying. But if you ask people, they think, oh, they're a lawyer. They must know what they're doing. I think people buy from us. People buy from you because they know us, they like us, they trust us. We can establish a rapport with them. And that's what's going to drive that. I think it segues from what Bertie was saying. It doesn't matter if we're doing the same thing because they may not like my colleague, and they may not like me. And there's plenty of people that don't. So
Impossible.
They can go somewhere else.
They're now exes.
They're not my client. That's right. They're now exes.
They were your clients' exes.
We send those people to our competition that we don't like. No, just kidding.
Excellent. Okay, so that was networking. And now that we have established a network, we want to maintain that network. There is the care and feeding of that network and utilization of that network. Let's jump into that. How do you effectively utilize your network? Larisa, why don't we jump with you?
Okay, so with my company, I am actively part of numerous chambers, anything from the Edison Chamber to Middlesex Chamber to the Jersey Shore Chamber, Jersey Shore Partnership. Those are the ones that are kind of, this past year, I've been running around. It's like a chicken without a head. I will say, in order to maintain relationships with these guys, you got to be present. I can't just show up to one event, one conversation, one networking, whatever, and think that's going to get me something. That's not how it works. You have to be present. You have to be the go-to person that they think of, because you're not selling the people at that networking event. You're not selling them. Maybe you are, but generally you're not. You're trying to get them to think of you. It's about who they know times that, right? So LinkedIn is a great place to start. I know personally what I'm going to do after we wrap up this, awesome talk, and tomorrow I'm going to be spending some time on LinkedIn. I'm going to be finding a bunch of people, connecting with as many people as I can, and then also keep in mind LinkedIn has the rules of how many people you can connect with, so that's fun. And I will have to keep track of that stuff so I can then make sure and make a point to follow up or network later on with those other people I missed. I'm not going to share how many years back, but I went to a high school reunion for X number of years ago, right? I'm not disclosing my age. And I opened up my yearbook and I saw, this is a great common ground, right? Of people that know me from my high school days. How fun would it be if I can go find them in LinkedIn and start connecting with them there? That opens up another network for me. And I think, overall it comes down to just being open and willing to have the conversations with others too. Don't be closed off. You never know who you don't know, and who they know, they might know somebody else.
100%. Jessica, jump in.
Connecting. It's not, I'm a connector. I'm not a networker. I know people. I've been in the industry. You know, there's, and like Rosanne too, we can, you don't necessarily, I might speak to you, you might have it, no need for me, but you start talking about your business, I start asking you questions, and all of a sudden my head's going in my little Rolodex in my brain. I bet she'd be great to meet Linda. I bet you she would love to be introduced to Catherine. I bet you I could make a great connection here with Maria. And if you're bringing something of value, and as we said, it's not about give me, it's about how can I help you, and then all of a sudden people are helping you.
A giver's gain, yeah. So when I first started, I guess I started focusing really heavily on building my business when I started to realize I wasn't getting any younger. I joined the chamber in Morris County, and I didn't have a very good strategy, but I did one-to-one, like I said, to death. And in the beginning, the way I worked that network was whenever my burgeoning firm needed a service like business cards, I bought from the person in the chamber, because they had this meeting once a month where they would get up in front of the microphone before COVID and thank whoever bought from them that month. And they kept saying, Rosanne DeTorres, thank you for closed business, because I bought a copier from somebody. I bought business cards. I had to get insurance for my business liability insurance. We bought, other services, marketing services, SEO services. And these people kept getting up in the front and saying, thank you to Rosanne DeTorres. That's how I got name recognition over and over. And then I started sponsoring, for like $350. I got 5 minutes in front of the room. That was before COVID. 150 people in the room. And, divorce isn't that funny, but I found a way to make it funny. And people laugh about, that's a way to connect with people too, is through humor. It's also a good way to save your marriage, wink, wink, if you want to stay married. But as I grew, if you will, in my business acumen, and I had a lot of help. I had coaches, I took trainings, went through a lot of educational things. I started to do sort of bigger things, if you will. We host these quarterly mastermind, like networking things that my firm hosts, and we invite. It's invite only. We invite like 10 people, and we have a nice breakfast, and we just get to meet each other on a deeper level. There's no other point than that. We're not selling anything. They're not my competitors. They're colleagues. Maybe a banker might be there, and just to build the network. My referral network, I go to their events. I don't need estate planning services from the estate planning lawyers that send me business. But when they have a seminar, I go. Because that's who I send my people who need a will. They send people who need a divorce, So we support each other.
I agree. It's it. We're only as good as the people we surround ourselves by, and our reputation.
And creating a network that you can refer people to is so powerful.
Yeah.
Exactly what you guys just said, Brideo.
So when I think about maintaining your network, it's maintaining, but it's also continuing to expand it. So on the maintenance piece, it's important to keep in touch. And how do you keep in touch? Whether you are following up, whether it's a phone call where you are giving that person a call, hey, I met you at this event, wanted to set up coffee. Right? We talked about in person. So what I would say is whether it's in person, whether it's through social media, and we talk about the power of LinkedIn, right? You can send a message on LinkedIn. The power of LinkedIn is that it gives you information to tell you when someone changes jobs, when someone has an anniversary, when it's their birthday. That's a great way to keep in touch. When we talk about staying visible, post content on social media, when you're active, when you're commenting or engaging with someone's content, they see your name, they see your face, they can click on your profile. It's another way of staying visible. And I'm talking about the social media aspect, but you should balance out in-person Zoom or coffee chats in addition to other electronic means. It may be, maybe you have a newsletter that goes out, or maybe it's just a quick email just to say hi, just to check in, just to see how someone's doing. That maintenance means staying visible and keeping in touch. When we talk about expanding your network, you never know, and I'm going to go back to social media, regardless of the platform that you're using. I'm going to talk about LinkedIn a lot today because, of course, it's the professional networking platform, right? When you're connected to someone, you can see who they're connected to as well, right? You never know where a commonality may be. It could be a similar industry. It may be someone who's in an industry or an organization that you want to meet or keep in touch with. That's either a referral opportunity or an opportunity to get introduced, which serves as a warm introduction. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of maintain your network, but still continue to expand it. And as long as you're authentic, as long as you're genuine, and as long as you're making sure that it's about the relationship. It's about really getting to know the person. I mean, I can't tell you how many networking events I've been to. And, you know, of course, maybe a lot of people in the networking group, and what happens is someone comes up and they're just handing out their card. They don't introduce themselves. They don't ask you your name. That's not making a great impression on me. That's not what networking is. So what I would say also is that make sure that you continue, and this is under the umbrella of being intentional, right? Just start somewhere and then be consistent. Even if you start and say, you know what, it's one event per month. Block it off and say, you know what, I'm going to find what event I want to attend this particular month. And as you continue to do it, you'll get used to it. And before you know it, you won't even think about it. It'll just be a routine where you get used to it.
Can I just
Yes.
add two things? So number one thing that's missing that we did not touch upon at all is timeliness. 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 So it doesn't work to meet somebody and then try to reach out to them on LinkedIn a week later. They don't know who you are at that point, you know? There's too much time that passed. So I have a rule for myself, and I don't know if it's the right rule. I don't know if you guys agree with me or whatever, but within 48 hours, definitely by next morning if possible, but within 48 hours, you're reaching out to that person, you're making that connection, whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be a personal email, whether it be a phone call. But you got to touch that person you made a connection with so they remember who you are. And then the second thing, I learned this acronym a couple days ago, and it really resonated with me. PIE, P-I-E. Anyone know what that means? Because I didn't know it.
It's not in banking.
No, it's not, but it's food, almost. No, it is. And the apple pie, now I'm going on pie tangent. So performance, image, exposure. It was powerful for me. And I only learned this a few days ago. And what I'll say is, you know, we are all doing our personal brand, right? Every one of us has a personal brand that you're projecting out to the world. So if you are on LinkedIn, you got to be relevant. You got to post, you got to comment, you got to do all these things to keep yourself name recognition, your brands, right? Share things at events, take pictures. They have pictures here, share where you are, tag, do the hashtag thing, link it all together, right? And also tag people who you met here, because then that will get you to their network. It's really powerful to use these things. And
Very well said. And I just want to say one thing that combines LinkedIn with what Berdia said. You can't just pass out your card without having met someone. Don't slide into someone's DMs on LinkedIn and expect to get business. I find that to be one of the most obnoxious things
Yes.
ever.
And
So many people do it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
There's two things that really annoy me. One is if someone's trying to sell me something that I already do. They have not taken the time to look at my profile. They have not taken the time to look at what I do. And there's no hello, there's nothing. Here's what we do. Let me help you, 1,000 leads in a day, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And it's very, very annoying. So what I would recommend is always personalize the message before you reach out. LinkedIn will give you this, I like to add you to my network. use the person's first name. Share how you met. We met at WBLF. Whatever the case may be, make it personal. It doesn't have to be long because they give you a certain amount of characters, but make it more of a warm introduction as opposed to a canned message because it shows the amount of effort that you put into reaching out.
I also think LinkedIn is important before you go on the meeting as well.
Agreed.
I just 2 weeks ago, I got a warm introduction from a woman that I've networked with. She sent one of the women in her networking group to me, and I took the time to read her LinkedIn. And she had been posting articles, and it was a sad story, but I related entirely. She posted an article on grief, and she's in the property management business, and she posted about how when her husband passed, how she transitioned and had to, leave her day job and come and run this business. And it was so powerful to me because my sister-in-law had just gone through the exact same scenario when my brother passed during COVID, that the minute she walked in, I was instantly connected to her and could sit there and say to her, I just want you to know I read your article on LinkedIn. It really resonated with me. It broke the ice entirely. I automatically had common ground with her. And this wasn't my intention, but it was so natural to say it because it impacted me when I read her article. I also do the same thing, and we clicked it off. We clicked, of course. But I also go on websites of companies that I'm going to visit that I haven't met before. And I look not at I always look at the leadership team and the board of trustees to see if I have any commonality with them. But I also look where they spend their money, where they're donating, what their favorite charity is, who do they support on their website. Not only does it take you out of the business mode, but if there's commonality and a passion that this firm has outside of just the getting to know people, and you can find common ground with that, that's another way of using the tools that we have before you even get to the networking.
100%.
Absolutely correct. Okay, we're gonna transition from the business development to the business close. So we're gonna move right into sales. And for women, we're socialized to be good girls, to not make anybody feel uncomfortable. And asking for the business can be uncomfortable sometimes, right? How do you combat that? How do you lean into confidence without trying to make somebody feel uncomfortable that you want their business? Who wants to start? Oh, Larisa, you made it first.
I'm very direct. I have to be, right? Because we are conditioned to be good girls. We are conditioned to kind of take a step back and feel things out. But at the same time, and I love phrases. So a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Ooh, wow.
That was deep.
That's amazing.
That was intense.
Should I go mic drop?
Right. No, it's not ours. So don't hurt the microphone.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I don't product push. I never talk about product names. I talk about concepts. I talk about value. I talk about what challenge are you trying to solve for, and let's work through that, and let me see if there's a way I can help you. It's not necessarily me always. They might go somewhere else and get the help I give them, but it's at least I know I've left a meeting. I've left a pitch behind in a way that I'm not. And I hate being a product pusher, and I hate going into something thinking I have to come out with something.
Well, I think ultimately that comes down to asking the right questions too, qualifying their needs. So
Right.
then your product fills a void or provides a solution,
Yeah.
and you're uncovering that.
And you
so
and
you're not
I
really
asked the question,
product.
how would
Yeah,
it make
you're not
you
pushing,
feel
you're-
if you didn't have to do
Right.
this anymore? How many hours would you get back in your day
Right.
if you didn't need to open those envelopes and scan those checks? Or just little things that that there's a solution for that they might not know about. And I always and if I don't get the sale that day, I know I have something to talk to them about in the future because they just told me it hurts when they do that. And they might not be ready to fix it, but it hurts.
Yeah, you're talking about the pain points, obviously. That's always great to talk about because then you want them to feel the pain so that they make a decision to change from feeling pain. I like to say I sell a little hope. People are coming to me, they want to see what their future might look like, and I can give you that in about an hour, at least a sense of that. So that makes people feel really comforted. And I think that's key, but also the sales process is not just that one meeting. It starts way before. It starts when they make the appointment, because we found, and we kept statistics on all this, that the paying clients retain us 80% of the time rather than non-paying clients. So guess what? We don't offer free consultations. Why? Because only 20% of the people that didn't pay for the consult would end up retaining us. So we were just giving our money, giving our time away. A lot of people give that free consult. We don't. So, if you can't do that first step, you're not coming in the door, right? The only time we would give a free consult if we weren't busy. That's not happened yet. The other thing is we follow up and make sure they are coming. Tomorrow, you have an appointment tomorrow? We call and confirm. Because there's a lot of no-shows, no calls. People still do that. They just don't show. And we found that if you call and remind them, they're more likely to show up because it's like a shame thing. If you actually get somebody on the phone and talk to them about seeing you tomorrow, you're more likely to show up. Right? When your mother calls, are you coming to get me tomorrow? Yeah, Ma. And then when the meeting is over, I simply say, how would you like to proceed? And I stop talking. And they may want to think about it. Now, by then, I've told them what it would cost. I've told them all the things. And if they say no, then I just go in my CRM. I type what they wanted to do. But we drip them no matter what, meaning I still keep touching them. I'm sending emails to them. If they want to retain me, it's a different set of emails. If they haven't decided, they get this, So it's a lot of things. That sounds easy, but that took years of developing, right? So I'm not new at this. So please don't compare yourself to me, because I've paid my dues. I'm thinking about retiring. What? I'm getting to that point.
I can't even imagine you retiring.
No.
There's
Where am I
also
going to go all day? That's what I worry
80% of
about.
sales.
What am I going to do all day? Anyway, and so please, start, like Bertie said, start somewhere. And then you build these things little by little by little. We used to send all those emails manually. Now we do it through a little automated thing. That's how we started.
Power of technology, right?
With a spreadsheet.
So Rosanne mentioned pain points, right? Value. Always provide value. Always be solution oriented. When you're having that conversation, it's about how you can help. It's about how you can provide solutions that are going to address their pain points and solve their challenges. So if you're just pushing a product or a service and you really don't care about helping, it will show. So if you show that you care, and you show how you can be that solution or provide solutions, and then also if you show how you are different and what your approach is, provide the detail and make that lasting impression. Because if you truly care and you truly want to help, you share how you can help, you show them how you can help, and also ask questions. It may not be the right time for everyone, right? Yeah. But having that understanding, having that emotional intelligence to know who you're talking to, where they are in the process, the sales process, what they need, when they may need it, and then also making sure that you have a process in place to follow up and have those touch points, as Rosanne said. That's how you stay visible. That's how you keep in touch. And then also when they do have that need and you were caring and you were genuine, they're going to remember you for it and reach out.
Very well said. One thing that I always like to remember is that human beings have the lizard brain, right? And there are just certain things that human beings like and don't like. And the word no makes human beings feel really safe, right? As soon as you feel like you're starting to be sold on something, you want to say no. And so I think of this as like a Jedi mind trick. But if you can craft an email in a way that allows somebody to say no while giving you what you want, it can be an amazing, powerful thing, like to get you to the next step of the development of the relationship. So for example, Rosanne, would you be opposed to getting coffee sometime?
No.
I didn't think so. Right? It can be as simple as that. Just to you meet somebody at an event, you want to follow up and get a meeting, get a one-on-one.
Play some golf.
Play some golf. Make it easy.
A swing suite. No, top golf.
Yeah, Topgolf.
Invite somebody you want to get to know, if you don't play golf, to coffee.
Coffee.
Or tea.
Or
tea.
paint and sip, or whatever you like to do.
That's fun.
That's a great way to get to know somebody that you want to build a relationship with. And I do happen to golf, but I'm sporty like that. But that's a good way that I really like to get. I got to know people very well because, I don't drink, but sometimes, but they, a lot of people that golf drink, and, it loosens up. Everybody it's a little bit looser environment. You're more social, it's, you're learning about their personal lives, and that's what builds a relationship, I know Jessica, not just because she's at PNC, but I know about her family, her daughters, her husband's work, where she went on vacation, that kind of thing. And that's how you build those deep connections with people.
And don't be afraid to try new things. I just tried golf for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Don't consider myself a golfer. I'm not a sports person. However, it's a great networking opportunity because, believe it or not, there are people who know the game, but there are people who don't necessarily know the game as well. So you're learning together, you're meeting new people, and there's great conversation because if it's an all-day, 9-hole golf course, then guess what? There's a lot of talk time in between. You get to know people in a very casual way.
I had a blast at the NJBIA 9 and Dine.
Yeah,
I'm
and they
so
have
glad to hear it.
Oh my God, so much fun.
And they
I
have
don't go.
clinics for if you
Yes.
don't play golf.
True.
You
do
can
the clinic.
Yes.
You can go to the event, do the clinic,
Yes.
and then you go to the food after.
The food.
Exactly.
I did
food.
18 holes the other day, and I had to ride around on a golf cart and go and network and do all those things. But yeah, the food was the best. Absolutely. Yep.
And just to, this should be a sponsorship by Topgolf, but
Yes, it's
I discovered that you can share a membership at Topgolf. You can split it with a friend, and then once a month, just bring 3 people that neither of you knows each. And the Bay is.
We were going to do that,
I was.
and then you went to Minnesota.
That was essentially
She
it.
was going to bring somebody that I might like to meet, and I was going to bring somebody that she might
was the
like to
plan.
meet. We were going to rent one of those Topgolf suites so we could go once a month. And you play the games, and you eat and drink, and
be merry.
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't even know
And
you
it
could
has
have a
nothing to do
membership,
with
so I learned
business. It's
something.
just we have similar interests. We're trying to build relationships with people, and it's not working. It's network. We're not working.
All right, I am getting the high sign from the back. It's time for
yeah.
Q&A. We've got some mics set up here. Please don't be shy. All right, very brave soul.
Okay, hi, my name is Grace Eichenauer. I work for New Jersey Resources, but I just started my career, and I think that all the advice that you guys have shared has been so interesting. But on the being intentional part of networking, being so fresh out of college, it can be hard because I don't really know what my intention could be or where I want to go. So what tips would you have for someone like me?
I got an instant tip. Join a young professionals group, part of the chamber. I don't know I'm not sure what your role is, but you're brand new to your career, young professional groups everybody is just like you. Find one and where you need to be, go talk to your colleagues, where do you usually network, and then seek yourself out that young professional group. Total comfort level. They all have bosses and higher ups that you could meet. You never know.
I would say, for me, I got more intentional when I tried to figure out how to answer questions I knew I was going to be asked at these networking events, like what made you become a divorce lawyer? And I think if you know why you have to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, because you're not going to be able to convince other people that you are serious about what you're doing if you don't believe in what you're doing and you don't find some purpose in it. I do find purpose in what I do because I like to help people solve their problems, and it's very interesting work, to be honest with you. And I love my team, so it's very gratifying. So I've found my why. You got to find that. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to sell what she's selling, banking services, whatever, if she didn't really believe in the products, believe in the system, believe in the institution of her bank, believe in her colleagues that she works with. So you have to kind of figure out what's in your heart? Where are you going? What do you want from your life? And I don't know. Do you ever see the what is it? The TED Talk. Simon Sinek.
Yes.
Start with why. And the point is that it's the stuff inside that goes out. The what you sell is out here, but why do you do all that stuff? What is it? What are your values? What is your motivation for that? And that's kind of like, that will steer you. Okay, these are the kind of people I want to meet because now I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's what I would do. That would be my one tip. And good for you. Rock on. I wasn't thinking about networking until I was like 50.
Exactly. And what I was going to say is this is a great step today, right? Because the topic that you selected today is giving you exposure to so many different industries, so many different people. So if you start there and think about what you're interested in and then kind of let that guide you, you'll see how the universe will line up for you.
I will also say, you already have your own network. Think about it. People who you went to college with, people who you went to high school with, people if you played sports with. Anybody, sorry?
Sorority?
Yeah, sorority, sure.
She said no.
Oh, no, I wasn't one either.
Those
But
didn't exist at my school. We didn't have.
no, but you can still use that as a common ground. You can go hunt for these people, so to speak, stalk, whatever, on LinkedIn or through other means. And you can use your college to also network and find what they are promoting.
The Alumni
For
Association.
alumni associations, because that can open up a world of doors that you may not even be aware of.
That's really good advice. I would add one thing. Maybe find a mentor. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a formal arrangement. I never had a formal mentor, but I had women in my life that I looked up to, that I respected, that I wanted to learn from. And so I would seek them out and, get coffee with them every, once a quarter and just pick their brains about what they were interested in and what they were reading in the news and what they thought about it. It doesn't all have to be work related, but it's all important.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
Good luck.
Good afternoon, ladies. My name is Shalisa McNeil, and I have a question I'm a startup founder, right? And that means that what I do is cerebral all day. I would consider myself an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert, whatever the case, my battery dies really quickly. So how do you manage that in the realm of networking when you really have to? Like for what I do, I create jewelry with cooling technology, right? But at the end of the day, it's talking to a lot of people when you're fundraising or you're just trying to expand your network. How do you manage that battery that absolutely loses steam after so much talking and become really intentional about following up with those networks? Because I meet a bunch of people, but if you're in the lab or if you're doing all these other things and you're like, oh, don't let me forget to get to that list of people that I need to reconnect with, and you can connect with them, but being more intentional about setting up the time when your battery drains really quickly.
Great question. Who wants to jump in?
Well, I like to sleep. It's all about self-care and boundary setting and saying no. I'm a people pleaser because I grew up in a noisy Italian family and there was a lot of fighting. And so, the best way to survive was to be agreeable, and to be invisible, agreeable and invisible. So, that's what
And I would say,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
self-awareness. Know your limits, right?
Yeah.
Don't push yourself too much. If you have like we have a major event today, over 500 people, right? You may decide that I know when I go home, I'm sitting on the couch, maybe a nice glass of wine, watch a movie, whatever the case may be. If you are truly an introvert, that's where you're going to get your energy. So you always have to go back to where you get that source of energy. Dial it up when you need to, but don't overwhelm yourself.
And network with a purpose. But when you're done, if you're just standing there, go home. Go home.
Oh, I do that, but I sometimes think I'm like, am I leaving too soon? Because I'm at a lot of events.
But you're
and
not
sometimes I'm
any
like,
good to anyone if you're not if you're not here either in your head or your heart. You're not, the connections you're going to make might not. You might have the chance of meeting the person of your lifetime, but you might not even be able to recognize it because you're exhausted.
Okay.
And it's about quality, not quantity. It's not the
Yeah.
number of people that you want to meet. It's the right people.
Agreed.
And you never know, because somebody was talking about, Larisa, not selling to the people that you're networking with. You're trying to build raving fans. You're trying to build people that are going to create a network for you.
Yeah, promote you.
Sponsor.
There, because I want
Sponsors,
to
yes.
sell to her clients and her clients, right? So
Yeah.
that's what that.
I will add.
You could do is build that time into your schedule. You know, you have this time to create whatever it is that
That's
you're
right.
creating, and then you can sort of block aside, you know.
So I was going to say that. So I am a big believer in scheduling and planning. And anybody, like my mother would know, I would like to have things down to the wire, to the minute, to the, like, I need that for myself, to hold myself accountable. And it would create an opportunity to hold yourself accountable as well, and give you the freedom and space to realize I can pause that for now, you know, because my time is done, you know. So give yourself the grace and know that nothing's perfect right now. And it takes time to get perfect. Well, not that anyone's perfect, but, you know, just understand it comes down to scheduling, time management, organization. And if you have those things in play, then everything else will start to fall into place.
Yeah, book your downtime.
And book the downtime. Watch
Book
that
it.
movie.
Yeah.
Go to the spa. Go to that
I'm a
buffet.
big self-care person. So
Yeah.
I understand all
Yep.
of those things. I'm just definitely trying to figure out that balance between being in places where you have to be on, right? So when you're networking,
Yeah,
you
it's an
have
act.
to be on.
Mhm.
And then, but when people meet you in other places and they're like, oh, you're so much more subdued now. I'm like, yeah, I had to be on then, but
But
this
people
is
understand
me
that, though.
normally.
People get that.
And that's relatable
Yeah.
and believable and likable. And when people like you, they will buy from you. If people like you, they will
True.
want to work with you. They will remember you.
Know, like, and trust.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it means that you're human.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not a
That's
robot.
important.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Exactly.
lady.
You're welcome. Did you have a question?
I wanted to add something.
Oh.
Can I do that? I'm Jennifer Eckhoff. I'm the Executive Director of the Eastern Monmouth Area Chamber of Commerce. To add to you, I know for our events, on our list when you register for an event, you can see who's attending. So if you know, and that happens to a lot of places, if you can see who's attending, you can also be more intentional at that point, because you can see who is this person that I need to meet, and that will help with you with your energy as well. I got lots more, but I'll stop there.
That was good.
Excellent. And then you had asked also about how to keep following up and how to, that touch. I just recently learned this trick. Some of you may have been doing this all along, but you can set a rule in Outlook that every email that comes from a certain person goes into a specific folder. So I now I BCC myself on anything that I know I'm going to be mad if I don't follow up. It goes immediately into this specific folder. And once a week, I check that folder. And if I haven't heard from the people that I CC'd myself on, blind copied myself on, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I do the similar thing. I drag it from my sent folder into a folder called Remind. And then I go through my reminder folder and I follow up with those people. We also use a CRM too, but we have multiple ways of tracking that continuous touching.
And you can also do things old fashioned, you know, handwritten notes.
Um,
Kidding.
Just to give you another Outlook tip, you can post date an email
Mm-hmm.
and
Delay
delay delivery.
My favorite.
So if you don't, we meet today. You think it's a little too soon to send me an email tomorrow, but you want to touch base with me in a week, and all your thoughts are there today. You can write that email, put it and post date it, schedule send.
Yep.
And then on the day that you think was the appropriate day, it goes out. You don't have to worry, and it's drafted, and your touch point is there.
On the email itself, though, always BCC yourself.
I do.
It's a rule. You could set it up because then it gives you the peace of mind that you know that email went out, that you scheduled, and that person received it. Secret sauce, folks.
I love it. Any other questions? I think we've got a couple minutes left. Yes, come on up.
I'm forcing
You're so brave. I'm really proud of you. Yeah, round of applause.
So, I don't know if all of you guys can relate, but I know you as a mom. I have a leadership position currently. I'm director for an aerospace company.
So you're rocket science.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
That's awesome.
So I am dealing constantly with a lot of things at work
Yes.
and dealing with a lot of people, a lot of individuals, and I have a family at home. I have 2 kids. My social battery drains as soon as I walk out of work. And as soon as I'm out, I just kind of don't want to deal with anybody because then I step into the house and my social life becomes my kids and my husband. So is there any tips that you can give me? Also, another example, right? I use my traveling, my business travel to also like stay away and like relax from my kids, right?
I
We all
understand.
love-
I was at the
Yeah.
bar last night.
There
Absolutely.
you go. So I did that with
Bravo.
my coworkers.
It is fabulous
Not-
to
not
be
really,
here
just
without
only
a
wondering.
husband and children.
Yes.
Yes.
But it one of the things you can do to keep yourself out there is do something during work. There might be a
100%.
virtual thing you can join on your lunch break.
Lunch and learns.
You know, you don't have to network after work. You can be and especially if it's for business development, you're using your workday to develop business or develop leads for your employees, whoever it is, or you're doing it to feed your mind. And you're
Right.
going to come back from that lunch and learn, and maybe it's a topic that you really enjoyed, and you're going to come back in a great mood for the rest of the day. And so it's all, I mean, take the time during the day, use it an hour, or use an hour to search LinkedIn and, you know, do some research.
Great. Thank you.
I was going to say that I know that I need hit the reset button when my family says, "Did you lose in court today?" You know, when I get home. I'm like, what? Yeah, no. I have to do something. If I have a bad day or if I really feel that way when I walk in the door, I have my 20 minutes. I just have to tell them I need 20 minutes. I need to change my clothes. I need 20 minutes to myself, like to do whatever I got to do to try to get back into the family, you know.
Reset.
Yeah. And you, it seems like you have the shoe game going on too with the ladies up here. I was just noticing that was beautiful shoes. But yeah, boundaries, you know, it's about self-care. And you have a big job and you have a big job at home. I was going to ask you, it's too personal. Like, what happens when you walk in the door? Is everybody like accosting you? Or can you be like, hold on a second, mommy needs 30 minutes. I'll be back in 30 minutes. Don't bother me. And then go up to your wherever and do your thing.
Certainly.
That would be what I would do because, you know, you have 2. I only
have
raised
2.
1 child.
Yes, I have to.
I don't know how people do multiples. And then you're outnumbered if you have 3.
Yeah, but that's
very hard.
Then you have to go to zone coverage. According to my husband, you don't go to one-on-one.
All right, I am getting word that we are at time. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all so much for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you. Round of applause for Rosanne DeTorres, Bridia Chambers, Jessica Viotto, and Larisa Perlovsky. Oh, sure. It sounds like Larisa has some gifts and prizes for us from some things to
Not
give
really
away.
a prize, just little gifts. So before you all leave, right? Networking, first impression, leave a good impression, right? So you come with little gifts and trinkets and stuff like that. So that's not for me, that's for my company, but enjoy.
And we'll see you tonight at the networking.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.